welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, then welcome. My name is Maddie, and today I'll be sharing my wrap-up for both the months of August and September. Editing me here, I very quickly want to point out that, yeah, my eyes are really bloodshot in this video because I am absolutely exhausted. This has been a very hectic week for me. I've been nonstop just working, and so it's just been a lot, and so I am burnt out. So that is why my eyes are so bloodshot. And I'm also sick right now, and it's gotten worse throughout the day because, as you can probably hear, my voice is going away. Like, it's very bad. So yeah, that's why my eyes look a little weird. I don't know if anyone notices, but I did, so I'm just gonna point that out really quick. Yes, I did mean to do a wrap up for August at the beginning of September. The reason I didn't, though, is because I had really procrastinated writing out my reviews for all of these books because I have to script my book wrap-ups in order for me to get my thoughts out there properly. I had tried to film my August wrap-up without a script just because I was like, you know what, I didn't write any reviews for these books this month, and maybe I just don't need to. Maybe I can just wing it and go off the fly with my thoughts on these books. It did not work out. The video was a hot mess, so I scrapped my initial filming of the August wrap-up entirely and did script out my reviews for all the books that I read in August. But by the time I had done so, it was already kind of too late to upload a wrap-up for August because it was like halfway through September. So I thought, you know what, let me just combine my August and September wrap-up in one video. We'll just do it that way because, honestly, in the months of August and September combined, I only read 7 books, so it's not like I have a whole lot of books to show in this video that I read in 2 months, so this won't be a crazy long video. But yeah, that's how we're going to do it this time. So this will be my August and September reading wrap-up. So why don't we just get started with my August wrap-up, and I'll show you the 4 books that I read in August. Starting off, we're going to start off with a reread, and that is Lover Awakened by J.R. Ward. This is the 3rd book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. I am currently rereading the books that I have already read from this series. I think I've read the first 8 books in this series. No, 7. I've read the first 7, but I'm starting this series over because I took a long break from picking up another book from this series, so I kind of forgot what happens in the books that I had already read, so I'm just starting this series all over, and so I did reread the 3rd book in August. If you don't know, the series follows vampires, and we're following a particular group of vampires who are tasked with protecting the vampire race. And we follow each of the members of the Black Dagger Brotherhood and their individual stories and romances in each book, at least in the first 10-ish books in this series. I think they focus on specifically the Black Dagger Brotherhood members. In this one, we are following Zeta's story. He is the scariest vampire that is in this group. He is very hard to approach. He's very hard to get along with. He's just very scary, but really he's mainly just really misunderstood. He went through a lot in his past that really affected him and made him the standoff guy that he is. He has a very sad story, and I will say that so far this is the hardest book to read in this series because of the content matter of this one. It is very deep, very hard hitting, definitely very, very trigger heavy as well. Look up triggers for this book before you read it for sure. I did like the romance in this one. It's not my favorite, though. I think the problem that I do have with the romance between Zetas and Bella is that there's not enough fluff between them. That might sound silly to say, but I feel like I need more, happy and fluffy moments in my romances. Their relationship strictly just feels sad all the time. Bella is always feeling sad for Zetas because, of course, what he went through, and Zetas is always feeling bad because he constantly feels like he's putting Bella in danger. I just want more happy moments between them, and you just don't really get a lot of that. Their relationship is always just so tense and angsty, and I just need more positive as well, I guess. Initially, I gave this book 4 stars when I first read it, and I think I'm going to keep that 4-star rating because I think that reflects my true feelings for this one. There are parts of it that I like. I like Zeta's development. I think he has come a long way from the beginning of this book to the end. He has changed so much, and I'm so proud of him for that. And there were aspects of the romance that I did like, but I had issues as well. It's not my favorite in the series, but it's pretty good. I cannot wait to continue reading the rest of the books in this series, though. Next, I need to read Lover Reveal, and that one follows Butch and Marissa, who are so far, like, definitely up there with my top favorite couples in this series. They are so cute, and I love their stories, so I am super excited to reread that one. Next, I have my July Book of the Month book, right? Is this July? July? Yeah, this is my July one. I have a lot of Book of the Month books that are in this pile, and I'm like, which month was which? This is my July one. That one is How Freaking Romantic by Emily Harding. This book ended up being so cute. I've been really excited to talk about it, so let me tell you what it's about. And I will actually now be referring to my notes, so going to be looking down a lot. Our main heroine in this book is Bee, and when Bee's friend tells her that she is going through a divorce, she also tells her that her ex-husband's attorney is going for her alimony. This drives Bee to confront this lawyer and tell him off for doing this to her friend, but Bee comes to find out that Nathan, her friend's ex-husband's lawyer, is going to be the temporary replacement for the teacher that she is TAing for, so now they're going to be spending a lot of time together. Bee still can't stand him, but as they're working together more, they get to know more about each other, and she finds things that she actually likes about them, and a romance starts to brew between them. The progression of this romance felt so natural, and this is such a great example of an enemies to lovers trope done right. I really like the way that Bee and Nathan were able to relate to each other because they are in the same profession as lawyers. They had great humorous banter and so many sweet moments between them. I loved Bee as a character. She really knows her worth and is able to stand up for herself. Both of those are qualities that I love to see in a character. She specifically chose to go into the law field of dealing with medical malpractice, and the reason that she has for choosing that specific niche is so sweet, and it really just shows how compassionate she is, and I really love that about her. I really loved unveiling Bee's reasons for going into her specific field of law, but I would have wished, I really wish, that we could have gotten to know more of the reasons why Nathan chose to be a divorce attorney, because that's such a negative specter of the law industry. So I would have loved to know more on why Nathan specifically chose to be a divorce attorney. He's actually decently optimistic, so for him to be a divorce attorney, which is, like I said, a sector of the field that is so negative, it makes it so it's such a contradictory thing to his character. So if we had only like gone into more of his backstory and development, it could have made more sense why he chose to be a divorce attorney specifically. I just wish we could have delved more into his reasonings for choosing this specific niche. But overall, this was a great romance. Really loved the relationship between these two characters. And this book was actually more hard-hitting than I thought it would be, because we are also dealing with a subplot that has to do with substance abuse. So of course, trigger warning, if that's something you're not interested in reading, be aware of that. But because this book also deals with that, which was totally unexpected, it made for a very emotionally hard book as well, but I love that about it. It was super fluffy, but I also love the mix of just like deep emotional themes in it as well. I give this one 4 out of 5 stars. This is the first book that I've ever read from this author, and if she comes out with anything else, I would definitely be interested in picking more books up from her. Next, I read quite the backlist book, and that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Ever since reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, a book by V.E. Schwab that came out this year, I've been wanting to read more books from her, so I was like, let me pick up Vicious next. So I did, and I really enjoyed this one. So this one follows 2 characters, that is Victor and Eli, and they were friends in college, and they bonded over their research they did together of them testing the possibility of people gaining extraordinary powers after going through near-death experiences. However, a disagreement in their newfound discovery causes a rift between them and results in Eli betraying Victor. In present day, Victor is on a mission to find Eli, who has sought out the eradication of every extraordinary person out there because he believes them to be dangerous, whereas Victor sees the value in them. The biggest thing that I took away from this plot is that there is no good versus evil in this story, but rather Victor and Eli are both evil in their own ways, which was surprising because with the way that this book was starting out, I thought that Victor was going to be the villain and Eli was going to be the good guy, but that wasn't the case at all. What is so interesting about these two is that they believe that they're doing the right thing, but the way they go about it is wrong. Eli wants to destroy individuals with extraordinary powers because their powers are dangerous to humankind, which, granted, some of them are. Some of these people don't use their powers for good, but not all of them. And Victor wants to keep them alive because he claims that these people don't deserve to die because they can't help that they gain these powers. But really, he mainly wants to keep these individuals alive because he can use their powers to his own advantage. So there really is no good guy in this plot, which made this a very fascinating book. The relationship between Eli and Victor was very interesting with the way they went from friends to enemies. And I think they ultimately became foes just because they are so much alike. They both want control and they are very self-righteous, so they were destined to butt heads. The only complaint I have with this book is that I think the ending, like the third act of this, lagged a bit in its pacing. That's pretty much it though. I just felt that like the last 50-ish pages of this book, I was kind of like, I'm ready to wrap it up now, but other than that, this book was great. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I still need to read its sequel, which is Vengeful. I can't believe I haven't yet. I need to do that this month in October for sure. Need to read that. But yeah, this one was solid. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't read it yet, for whatever reason, this book has been out forever. I'd be surprised if you haven't, but if you haven't yet, pick it up. I really enjoyed it. Now, unfortunately, I have to talk about one of the worst books that I read this year. These do not come around often. This was a 1-star book from me. You know how rare that is? I so rarely give books 1 star. A book has to be very, very, very bad for me to give it 1 star. This one was bad. I thought it was deserving. I'm so sad though. I wanted to love this so much, especially because it's a book of the month book. This was my August book of the month book pick, and I ended up hating it. It's so sad. That is Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. This book, it was just all over the place. It was chaotic. It was not good. It was so disappointing. So let me first get into what this one is about, and then I'll go into my rant. So basically, we're following 6 students at this school in the afterlife, and the school is called Blackwood, and they must compete in these trials where the winner can either ascend to the elite of the school or cross over to the other side that is unknown to them. And the losers are to remain in purgatory forever, and they will eventually forget their former life and are destined to reap lost souls for the rest of their existence. The problems I had with this book are abundant. I have so many. And honestly, it's so sad, but I have nothing good to say about it. Nothing. Nothing in this stood out to me as good. It was a hot mess. We have immature, underdeveloped characters who all have the same personality and a lackluster world building that left a lot to be desired. But by far, the biggest problem I had with this book were the characters. And if the biggest problem I have with the book is the characters, then that's a big deal, because to me, characters are the most important thing about a book. Like, plot comes secondary. Characters are the most important thing. If I do not like your characters, I'm not gonna like the book. It's just plain as that. So that's the main reason why I just did not like this, because the characters were just so flat. For one, there are way too many character point of views that we're following in this book. 6 point of views is way too many. I think I would have liked this book a little more if we were just getting one character's point of view and just getting their story and backstory navigating through this world and how they specifically ended up in the afterlife. Almost all of the main characters have very similar backstories and personalities that they just blended together, and I honestly often forgot which character's point of view we were even following and reading from. And the logistics of this world didn't really make sense. For example, Blackwood only enrolls teenagers who have passed on, and kids who have been at the school for hundreds of years are in the same class as the kids who have just passed on. So does that mean that no one ever graduates? A setting that takes place in the afterlife sounds so cool, but unfortunately, it was executed so poorly in this book. I really wanted to like this, especially because it is a debut novel, so it kills me to say anything bad about it, but honestly, it was just bad. It needs a lot more work, and I technically did not finish this. I didn't read the last like 40 pages of this. I had set the book down meaning to get back to it, but then I just thought about it and I was like, you know what? I only have 40 more pages left to go, and I really do not care how this book ends. I'm just not going to finish it. But I'm not going to count it as a DNF because I read like 98% of it. But I just was like, I don't care anymore. I don't care enough to finish this book. I don't care how it ends. It was just bad. I would not recommend it. But if this author does come out with anything else, I may consider reading it. I don't know, probably not, honestly. But I mean, this is her debut book, so I'm like, she has room to grow. I hope she does listen to criticisms that have come out about this book, because from reviews I've read, I am definitely not the only one who didn't like this, and a lot of people agree with me. So I hope that this does get back to the author somehow and she's able to take notes, because this just needed so much work. This honestly felt like a first draft because it needed so much more work. But yeah, 1 out of 5 stars, would not recommend. I'm very sad I didn't like this. Now the rest of the books that I have to show, I all read in September. I only read 3 books in September. It was, yeah. I mean, at least I read. There's that. So after I finished Immortal Consequences, I was feeling even more slumpy because that book was such a chore to get through that I'm like, I need to just pick up something I know I'll love. So I'm like, let me reread a book. This book was already on my TBR because it fulfilled the prompt from my TBR jar to reread a favorite book. So I'm like, you know what? Let's make this one the next book I'm going to read after just reading a book that I hated, because I know I'll love this, because I love this book. And that is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. One of my favorite books of all time, definitely my favorite Colleen Hoover book, and the first ever book that I read from her, in fact, and it has remained my favorite from her. I have read this book 3 times? Probably 4, actually. I want to say 4. I've read it a lot, and each and every time I read it, I just eat it up. It is so, so good. I'll give my very, like, rough thoughts on it, because I didn't script out anything, because I have already read this book before. I've talked about it before, so I'm not going to go too deep on it, but I will tell you that this one follows 2 characters. This one is a romance. We follow Miles and Tate, and they have a very interesting dynamic because they are very into each other. They're very physically attracted to each other, but they make a plan to only act on their physical feelings for each other and not grow actual feelings for each other. So it's basically a friends with benefit situation, but as is predicted, they do start growing real feelings for each other, which complicates things because both of them don't really want to fall in love with each other. They're not interested in love, but they can't help the feelings that they have for each other. It is a very angsty book. It's very sad. Miles specifically has a very tragic backstory that gets me choked up every single time I read it. I mean, this book, especially towards the ending, it just has me sobbing every single time. It's so heartfelt, even though the romance is so like tense because of the nature of it. It ultimately is so loving, and I specifically love how even though Miles and Tate try not to fall in love with each other, they just can't help themselves with growing these feelings for each other, and their chemistry is just so spot on. It's just a beautiful book. If you were to read any Colleen Hoover book, you gotta read this one, as long as you're okay with reading like really spicy things, because this, by far, definitely is her spiciest book, I would say. Maybe Too Late is also pretty spicy as well, but this one is really, really up there with the heat. But if you like books like that, then you'll definitely like this one. I loved it for a 4th time, and I'll probably love it every single time I read it. It's so good. It is still a 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read a book from a very new genre for me. At least I haven't read this genre for a very, very long time. I can't even remember the last time I've read a horror book, but I was feeling in the mood to read something horror because we're approaching spooky season. So when I saw this book on Book of the Month, I was like, let me pick that one. Let me just try it out and see if I like it. This is my September Book of the Month book pick. That is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. Like I said, this one is a horror. It falls into that genre, which is a genre that I never pick up. And so I knew I was going to be getting into something completely different when I started this one, and I was not mad about it. I really enjoyed this. So we're following our main character, Cleo, and she is a fashion influencer. And because of that, she's living her ideal life, but her world turns upside down when she takes on the challenge of remodeling her haunted house that she grew up in. Cleo initially never believes her mother's claims that the house was actually haunted, but as she's working on renovating the house, an entity starts to make its presence known. Through this experience, Cleo is confronting the truth and trauma from her past, and she's discovering just how this house caused her mother to go insane. I had never read anything like this before, as before I was never open to reading anything supernatural because I used to be very freaked out over the topic of demons. So I was really nervous going into this one, but I still wanted to try it out because I wanted to read something that I had never read before, and I wanted to see if I could conquer this fear. And I would definitely say that I did. I loved the spooky atmosphere of this book, and like I said earlier, as we're getting closer to fall, well, now it actually is fall. As we are now in fall, I've been getting more in the mood to read more spooky and darker books, and this book delivered pretty well with that. I think the setting of the haunted house was described really well, and I could picture it clearly. Most of all, I loved our main character, Cleo. She had so much personality, and I love the duality of her character because she's very spunky and peppy. But as we're following her journey through this book, she's unveiling secrets from her past that her mother kept from her, and we see how this affects her and takes a toll on her mentally. She was extremely layered and interesting, and I think that this author excelled so well at character development specifically. Funnily enough, the only thing missing for me in this book was the horror aspect. Like, I love the spooky setting of this one, but in terms of feeling actually like creeped out, I wouldn't say that I really was. And it's also funny because I said I was nervous about being scared by this book, but now I'm actually bothered that I wasn't scared enough. Whenever the entity in the house was making its presence known to Cleo, I felt like the delivery in those scenes weren't tense enough. I felt like the demon was just like, hey, yeah, I'm here. And then end scene, that would be it. There was never enough tension and build up to the demon actually spooking Cleo, so that could have been worked on a bit. But I will say that if you want to read a book that is horror but won't scare you too much, because it really did not scare me, then this might be a good one for you. I give this one 4 out of 5 stars. I loved most of it. I really loved this main character though. She was just, like I said, she had so much personality. Like, she was so well developed. She was just such a great character to read from. I just really loved her, and she was so complex, and I felt for her and her past and what she was facing, but she also just had this great aura of positivity too. She was so awesome. But yeah, I wish this book could have been even spookier. That would have been nice. Also unexpected, I will mention really quick, this one does actually have a romance, and I was not expecting that. The romance was actually really good. Spicy as well. I'm like, am I reading a horror book or an adult romance? I love the mix though. I was not mad about that. Y'all, I just got the notification that my Taylor Swift signed The Life of a Showgirl CD was just delivered. It was just delivered. I can't wait to see it. I don't know, I just had to say that because that's on my mind right now. Literally though, hold on, I'm gonna go grab that package off the porch because that is a prized possession right there. I am not gonna let anyone steal that package, not that anyone probably ever would, but you know, you gotta be safe. So I'll be right back. Okay, this is awesome. My Book of the Month book for October was also delivered, so I think I'll unbox it after I'm done with this wrap up, because why not? I'm already here filming. I have my Book of the Month book. Let's unbox it after. I think that'll be fun. So I'm going to leave that there for now. But before we get into that, finally, let's get into the last book that I read in September. And that one is Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. Yes, I read 2 Colleen Hoover books over these past few months, which is awesome. This one, though, I have never read from her before until now. The reason I finally picked it up is because the movie adaptation for this book is coming out this month in October, and I wanted to definitely read the book before I saw the movie, so I'm like, you know what? The movie's coming out in a few weeks. I need to read this book now. I'm so glad I did. This book was so good. Of course, I mean, it's Colleen Hoover. I knew it was going to be good. It was amazing. I'm so glad I finally read it. Also, I forgot. This book is signed. I completely forgot when I opened this book that it's signed and personalized. I ordered this from her website, so I got a personalized signature. Oh my god, it's so cool. So when I opened this book up, I was like, ooh. Oh, and I'm getting so off topic. I'm so sorry. But my copy of Ugly Love is also signed. How cool is that? Anyway, let's get into talking about what this book is about. So in this one, we're following Morgan and Clara, and they are mother and daughter who are going through a rough patch as Morgan is very strict with Clara, not wanting her to make the same mistakes that she did by getting pregnant and married way too young. After a tragic event happens in their family, their relationship is further strained as Clara is very much overcome with grief, and Morgan is going through the biggest betrayal of her life. Both of them end up finding love in the most unlikely situations, and both of them have to work together and be honest with each other in order to come back together again. I wasn't expecting much from a book that primarily focuses on the relationship between a mother and a daughter because I didn't know how much that would actually interest me, but because this is Colleen Hoover, I gave this book a chance, and I'm glad I did because, like I said, it was amazing. As typical with Colleen Hoover, this book was so hard-hitting as it deals with grief and betrayal and heartbreak, but its message in overcoming these obstacles by supporting and loving each other was so profound. I'm very close to my mom, so that gave me so much perspective while reading this. And the relationship between Morgan and Clara I found to be very realistic. Clara is a teenager, so of course at this moment in time she clashes with her mother a lot. But I love how both of them eventually come back together and find common ground. The way they come to understand each other is so sweet. I also loved their individual romances. Miller was an absolute sweetheart who was so supportive of Clara while she was grieving. I loved how unexpected their relationship turned out to be because in the beginning, it comes across that Miller doesn't like Clara at all, but it's revealed that there is some misunderstanding between them and his initial feelings for her aren't as they seem. He actually likes her a lot more than he puts off. I ultimately just loved the development of their romance, and I loved how innocent it was. It's also very, very interesting because we follow a teenage love story in this book as well as an adult love story, so this book feels young adult and adult at the same time. Like, I think a young adult readers would also really love this one as well as adult readers, which is really cool. Morgan's relationship with Jonah was so interesting because they've been friends since they were teenagers, but there's always been unspoken, deeper feelings between them that they are only now starting to unpack. It's not an easy road at all for them to accept those feelings for each other because of the specific situation that they are in. But I was so happy for them when they finally allowed themselves to love each other after holding back for so long. I was so proud of Morgan for finally finding her happiness and focusing on her well-being when she was always preoccupied with caring more for her family than herself. I thought she deserved her own happiness, and I'm so glad that she found it. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I just had to. It was so great, and now I really cannot wait for this movie adaptation. I'm definitely going to go see it in the theater. It comes out in just a few weeks from now, so I'm really looking forward to it. This book was just so good. It was so cute. It was so sweet. It was sad at times. It just was everything, and I would recommend to read it for sure. If you love Colleen Hoover and you haven't read this book yet, like, what are you doing? Don't be me and put this book off for like 5 years like I did. Like, why did I not read this when this first came out? I don't know. I just kept putting it off because I was like, I don't know if I'll like it. I loved it. I loved it so much. So it was amazing. Definitely one of the best. Actually, you know what? Yeah. This is the best book that I read in September for sure. It was so good. So those are all the books that I have read recently. So I'm hoping that October will be a great reading month as well. I am hoping to finish the book that I'm currently reading right now today. That would be nice, but I don't know, I have a lot to do. I have to edit this video and get it out before tomorrow because I'm filming this on Saturday and it needs to be out on Sunday. So I don't really have time to read today, but like, come on, I need to finish a book already. I haven't finished a book in so long. It's killing me. So hopefully October will be a great reading month. And speaking of that, how about we unbox my book of the month book, and I'll show you what it is. I know what it is, but I mean, y'all don't know yet, so you're gonna see as I unbox it. Of course, I'm gonna have to take this apart with my hands. I don't have any scissors nearby. I can manage. I got this. All right, that wasn't too bad. So here it is. As always, we have the bookmark that comes with it, as always. I always keep the bookmarks from Book of the Month because I do use them, and this is the book. So it is Oh, it's so pretty. It is Red City by Marie Lu. I chose this book because I have read from this author before. I have read Warcross by her. That series by her is a young adult series. This one, though, is the first book in an adult series from her. So that's going to be kind of new. So I'm like, you know what? I'm interested in reading something adult from her. All I know is that it's fantasy as well. So yeah, I'm going to read it this month and we're going to see how it goes. It sounds really good. It also does have sprayed edges. This edition is exclusive to Book of the Month. There it is. It looks like it's a city. Oh, I think it goes more this way. It's like a cityscape, which is so cool. I love that. So yeah, how about let me read the inside so y'all can know what it's about as well. So let's do it. So it says, alchemy is the hidden art of transformation, an exclusive power wielded by crime syndicates that market it to the world's elites in the form of sand, a drug that enhances those who take it into a more perfect version of themselves, more beautiful, more charismatic, simply more. Among the gleaming skyscrapers and rolling foothills of Angel City, alchemy is controlled by two rival syndicates. For years, Grand Central and Lumens have been balanced on a razor's edge between polite negotiation and outright violence. But when two childhood friends step into that delicate equation, the city and the past of their lives will be irrevocably changed. The daughter of a poor single mother, Sam would do anything to claw her way into the ranks of Grand Central in search of a better life. Plucked away from his family as a boy to become a Lumines apprentice, Ari is one of the syndicate's brightest rising stars. Once they might have loved each other, but as the two alchemists face off across opposite sides of an ever-escalating conflict, ambition will become power, loyalty will become lies, and no transformation may be perfect enough for them both to survive the coming war. Y'all, that sounds like some enemies to lovers stuff right there, which is always a great trope. So yeah, it sounds really good. I can't wait to read it this month. So I had that. That one is going on to my October TBR. I'm not making an October TBR video because I kind of feel like I'm in a reading mood, you know. I don't want to like force myself to read a certain book this month. So I'm just going to kind of wing it, but I will say, I will like briefly talk about books that I have in mind. So currently I am reading It by Stephen King, which has been an experience. I'm not that far into it. I think I'm like 100 pages in. This is 1,000 pages. I'm not even kidding. This is a 1,000-page book. It is insane. If I do like end up completing this book, this will have been the longest book that I have ever read. I am determined to finish it though. So I'm going to work my way through it. It's probably going to take me a while to finish it, but I'm continuing to read it. It is interesting so far. It is definitely creepy, as I've heard it is. I am also currently reading The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I have like less than 100 pages left of that book. Like I said earlier, I'm hoping to finish it today. I don't know if that'll happen, but I really need to finish that one. Spoiler alert, that book is really, really good. I cannot wait to talk about it. I am loving it, and I'm sure it's going to end perfectly. I cannot wait to finish it. I also have Fahrenheit 182 by Mark Hoppus. This is a memoir by one of the band members from Blink 182, who I love, and I'm actually seeing them at the When We Were Young festival that is happening in a few weeks in Las Vegas, and so I would love to read this book before actually going to see them, because I think that would be very cool to learn even more about this band before I see them live. So I need to get to this book right after I finish The Love Hypothesis, because it is on the agenda to read as soon as possible. So I'm going to get to that one. I think that's it. That's all I can think of. Yeah. I'm going to say that's it. Those are just the three books that... No. What? Red City, The Love Hypothesis, It, and Fahrenheit 182. 4 books that I have on my TBR for this month that I am hoping to get to, but... other than that, I'm just going to pick up what I'm in the mood for, because I think that's what I need to be doing, because I've been slumpish lately, so that's going to be my plan. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had so much fun filming right now. I'm just in a great mood. So I'm hoping that came across on camera. I got my, really quick before I leave, I got my teeth done yesterday. I went to the dentist. I got crowns on all of my, well, not all of my, but like my front upper teeth, which has changed my life. Like, I actually cried when I saw myself in the mirror with these teeth. My teeth have been my biggest insecurity for years. I have always hated my teeth. I thought they looked super ugly. My top teeth were so decayed. Um, and I've always felt very self-conscious about them. And so now that I finally have these crowns, which these are temporary crowns, my teeth are going to look even better when the permanent ones are on. I just have so much more confidence, and I'm just so happy. Like, I would, when I would edit my videos, and while I would just watch them, and I just could never stop noticing how bad my teeth look. Sometimes it was like, I don't even want to put this video out, because it's like, my teeth, they just look so bad. I'm like, I don't want anyone to see my teeth. Of course, I still put them out because this is my hobby and I love it, but it's like, it's always just been a very, very self-conscious thing that I have, was my teeth. So I'm so happy. Like, I feel like I can like smile now with teeth, and like I'm like so much more happier filming because I feel even more confident right now. I'm just so happy. So yeah, this has changed my life, and I'm so happy about it. I mean, so cool. Anyway, so I guess that's all I wanted to say, and I will be back with my next video next Sunday. So hopefully I will see you then. Bye!